Parents of Reddit, what lessons have to try to teach your kids that completely backfired? I wanted to teach my son the value of money and work ethic because he kept wanting Robux. I decided it would be a great teaching moment and a win-win opportunity as he was just getting to the age in which I think he should start doing chores around the house. He really wanted to buy some skin or something, so I created a chore chart and gave each chore a value. We established a schedule and everything. It was working out majestically. Every day without asking he was doing dishes, cleaning his room, picking up the dog poop. It was epic. Then one day, I came home and nothing had been done. I asked him, "Hey man, what's up with the dishes? Oh, and go pick up the dog poop too." He simply replied, "Nah." Fighting back rage, I simply said, "Excuse me?" He said, he made enough money over the last X days that he bought his skin, and he was good now. It was hard to argue. This is like the same effect going to a hotel has. You go to this clean place where food is delivered to your bedside and no one is ever making you do anything. Then you go back to your crap job and crap life of having to pick up after yourself. Till that, teaching kids lessons is like getting your wish granted by Doucher Bag Genie. Not a parent, but my in-laws love telling this story about my fiance. He was resistant to potty training, and they eventually got him to start using the potty by telling him that he had to be out of pull-ups before a family trip to Disney World because Mickey Mouse only sees big boys and girls. And also, who wants to lug a diaper bag around Disney? Anyway, it went great. They had a great trip. And the day after they got back, he took a sheet in the living room. When asked, he said, "I don't gotta use the potty cause I already saw Mickey Mouse." They very firmly told him that if he was old enough to use logic, he was far too old for diapers, and that was the end of that. My daughter did something similar. My mill promised her a Hello Kitty house playset for learning to use the potty. So after 1 week of using the potty every time she had to go, my mill gave her the Hello Kitty house. Next day she started wetting herself again because she got the house, so what was the point in still using the potty? I explained she still had to use the potty to be a big girl and made a sticker chart. No more promising toys for things the child has to do, but a sticker chart seems to work wonders in my house. Not a parent, but when I was around 12, my father suspected that I stayed up late playing video games, even though I didn't. One night he went into my room and told me that I shouldn't play my Game Boy Advance past bedtime because I needed to rest. That's when I realized I could play my Game Boy Advance past bedtime, and I've suffered from insomnia since th. This story is my favorite. When parents give you an idea you didn't even consider previously. And she said, "It's important for kids to be good in sports because the alternative is drugs." Well, that was the first time it heard there was an alternative. Saw a clip on local news about a toddler saving her mom's life by calling 911 when she collapsed. Figured it was a good idea to teach my toddler 911. Had 2 cops at my door 5 minutes later. Good response time. A friend of mine was trying to teach his son not to hit his daughter, so anytime the son hit the daughter, he started hitting the son in the head. Not hard, but enough to hopefully jog some sense of empathy. Actual result, the son would cover his head with one hand and smack his sister with the other. When my daughter was 10, she wanted to try out for a community theater version of Beauty and the Beast. She got nervous though, and almost backed out, because she was so sure she wasn't going to make it. My husband, who did some acting in high school, stepped in and said that he would also audition, even though he knew he was never going to make it. He wanted to demonstrate to her that it's okay to audition for something that you don't think you're going to make. She ended up not only just making it, but she got the part of Chip. My husband got the part of Morris, Belle's father. He didn't even want to be in a goddamn play. This fucking happened to me a few weeks ago. Well, kind of. I wanted to try out for a part in the female version of The Odd Couple that my town theater company is doing. My boyfriend came with me as emotional support because I was nervous. They asked him to read the male parts because no men had come to audition. The next day, he gets a call offering him a role, and I get a call saying, "Sorry, but you're not in the play." Now they want me to be the ducking stage manager. Gap. My aunt and uncle were trying to teach my cousin manners and wanted him to address people as Mr. and Mrs. They used each other as examples and consequently were known as Mr. and Uxley for 2 months. One of the funniest moments of my life was hearing my uncle describe how in the middle of the night instead of "Dad" he started hearing "Mr. Ryan Uxley." Cracks me up every time. My 4Y0 cousin was taught to introduce people at school. He would introduce his parents to people like, "Hello, I would like you to meet my friends, mommy and daddy." I'm kind of sad he grew out of that. This is so adorable. My youngest boy would never listen, and he was always totally fearless. He was also always really lucky. Damn near every time either of us told him don't do that, you're going to get hurt, he would do it and then not get hurt. So we ended up teaching him that when we said not to do something, that probably meant it was a fun thing to do. I remember really hoping that he would fall and break an arm or something non-life threatening or disabling like that, so he would stop constantly giving us heart attacks, which is weird to say as a parent, but it never happened so it doesn't matter anyway. He never got anything worse than a small scrape or cut that could be cleaned and covered in 5 minutes before he was back at it again. Looking back, I'm just glad this was before there was anything like Jackass around to further encourage that shit. Now he's a stunt man for movies. Can't say I'm surprised. That is hilarious. Told my children they should always have a good reason for what they want to do as a way to curb impulsive behavior. I'm hearing about all the reasons constantly. My dad tried to implement the whole "you must eat all the food on your plate" in our house during meals. My mom was never a fan of that lesson, but my dad was stubborn, so she just let it go. Well, one day my sibling had 2 to 3 bites of food left on their plate and was very clear that they were absolutely full and couldn't eat another bite. Dad wasn't having it and insisted they could not leave the table until all the food on their plate was gone. My sibling realized they weren't going to convince our dad that they were too full and finished the last few bites and then proceeded to vomit on the table and our dad. He stopped enforcing the rule after that. When I was about 2 years old, my family was at a game in Angels Stadium. My mother went to the restroom and left me and my siblings with my dad. While he was busy watching, I wandered off. When they eventually found me, I was halfway around the stadium. A crowd had gathered to watch as a police officer held me out at arm's length while I screamed, "Call the police. This man is not my daddy," over and over again. My parents had taught me stranger danger, but forgot to teach me what police look like. Edit. Grammar. Call the police. Sir, we are the police. I need an adult. I am an adult. I told my children repeatedly that if I found any more mess/junk on their bedroom floor, I would be donating it to the thrift store. I told them they had 15 minutes to clean it up off the floor. Came back to find everything picked up, except they went into the kitchen cupboards and had put every food they didn't like in a nice neat pile right in the middle of the floor. I always tell my children that the lottery is a tax on people that are bad at math. I'll let my 8-year-old spend a few hard-earned dollars on a Powerball ticket to prove it, and he won $100. Taught my now 16-year-old to always compliment people who insulted you. We were in a Burlington coat factory in Michigan when my mother was shopping for a bathing suit to take to Florida. There were few to choose from, so she was complaining. My kid was 4. A woman trying on pants and said something rude to my mom, who was asking my opinion, and my daughter caught on that my mother was agitated. She squeezed out behind me and told the woman, "Your teeth are such a pretty yellow." Edit. Holy shit, Reddit. 20k upvotes. I tell you, this is my most upvoted comment, but I doubt y'all care. My parents taught me to call 911 when I saw somebody doing something illegal. I called the cops on the Wiggles movie I was watching when I was 5 because a clown stole a cake. Luckily, the 911 operator realized I was young. My story didn't make sense because it was a kid's movie. Asked to talk to my mom before sending out cops.